For me, AI is a tool, right? Like get to an outcome. And the question that we keep asking at Appliance.ai is what do people want to cook and what prevents them from cooking that and can we help, right? And AI is a fantastic tool because cooking is very personal, cooking is emotional and people want their own nuances, right? People want their own customization.
We know that LLMs tends to hallucinate a lot and like they can generate a new recipe which never existed before. So how do you ensure that like that recipe is actually edible or tastes good?
I think LLMs, apart from writing code, are also really, really good at recipes because the internet is full of recipes.
Welcome to the another episode of Tech Talks. This is your host Siddharth Jindal from AM Media House. And today we have the founder of Appliance.ai, Mahek Mody, with us. He's bringing LLMs to the kitchen. Hi Mahek, how are you doing today?
Hi Siddharth, thanks for having me. Doing well.
So we know that previously you worked at Ether, and like what made you make this jump from founding your own company? And
So Ether Energy was quite an experience. I joined Ether Energy early because they were making vehicle, right? Like, and as a young engineer, make vehicle. I just joined, and what happened was like a 5-year whirlwind journey where we ended up developing a really good product, all of it made in India, and taking it to market, learning not only how to build a consumer brand but also tech products in India, which was very encouraging because we both Mohit and I come with this confidence that tech can be made in India. In fact, a lot of cutting edge technology that's going to come out of for the next 5 to 10 years is going to come out of India because now we are manufacturing locally. Now product development is like at an all-time high in the country, and it's been and now local demand is dramatically growing. So with all those insights from Ether, spending 5 years at Ether, I at some point I just took a little bit of a break to say, hey, I was working for 10 years straight. Let me just reset. I think the kind of person I am, within I think 3 days, I was thinking, hey, what can I build next, right? Like I love building. I love the 0 to 1 and 1 to 10, both the journeys that we did with Ether. Wanted to do that again, and ended up starting Appliance.ai. Was very fortunate to meet or reconnect with Mohit again, very early into thinking about appliances. And that's where we started talking about home appliances first. And then it became very obvious that kitchen was the right place to start for a home appliances company. Because a lot has changed in the kind of food we consume, what young India is now exposed to and wants to do and wants to achieve. And we ended up conceptualizing this product, doing a lot of consumer research, hours and hours of conversations with people that gave us the conviction that what we are building is truly a product of the future.
your latest product is everyone knows is Appliance Jar, which comes with a screen as well with Chef GPT. So can you tell us more about that? What are the features of the jar and how does it help in cooking?
So the appliance comes, appliance is an all-in-one kitchen device, and what it is designed to do is get anybody, irrespective of their cooking skills, cooking. There's a screen. The screen has 500 plus recipes. You choose what you want to cook. It will show you very clear steps on what to do, typically adding ingredients into the jar, and then you can let it cook. You don't need to worry about how long, when to start, when to stop. All of these things the appliance takes care of. And on top of that, we ended up developing Up.ai. Up.ai is something that is available to all our owners, and they can use it to not only modify or customize recipes to their taste, make simple things like make it spicy or non-spicy, but you can also go all the way where you make it vegan or make it without onions and garlic. And all of this makes food very, very accessible to people. In fact, recently we launched a feature where you could take any recipe, from the internet or from YouTube, copy paste the link into our app, and within 3 minutes, the appliance will generate a recipe, use AI to generate the recipe, and it is made available to you for you to modify if you want, and then cook on the appliance.
Up is an LLM which you have like fine-tuned.
So, Up.ai is essentially at the back end, a large part of it is an LLM. You want to think of it this way, right? Like we already have a recipe. We already have recipes. We now have like over 500, close to 600 recipes, which means that we have a lot of data about how to cook on the appliance, and we have like thousands of customers who are continuously cooking on the appliance. So we understand, what people modify, what their preferences are. So we use all of this information to make decisions about customizations that people request for. At times, the customization scope is outside the recipes that we have, right? In that case, what will happen is that we would call an LLM at the back end and get clarifications. To give you an example of how this works, let's say you were cooking, matar paneer, and then you wanted to replace paneer with tofu, right? Like, so in our database, we have paneer replacement with tofu, so you can, you press a button, it will replace paneer with tofu, and you can get going. But sometimes you'll be like, hey, maybe you said replace paneer with like chicken, right? Like now in that case, maybe our database doesn't have this information. So it'll go to an LLM saying, hey, I'm cooking XYZ. How should I change? What should change if I replace X by Y? And then we will use that information and convert it into a language that the appliance understands, right? Sometimes the cooking times will increase, sometimes it will decrease. Sometimes you have to do completely new steps. Sometimes the way you cut or the way you stir changes. So all of this is abstracted away, and the appliance now has understandings, because like even if you have swapped an ingredient, it knows how to cook these individual elements differently, right? So it knows how to cook tofu and paneer individually, and when you replace ingredients, it will just adapt so that it makes sense. That is how the Up.ai is geared to not only answer questions that you have or rescue you if you feel that you're stuck with cooking, but just straight up modify or generate recipes from scratch.
What value do you see with this product for the customers?
Our value proposition is actually like very straightforward, right? We think young India wants to cook but finds cooking intimidating, and we want to get everyone cooking. We are removing all friction that that gets people to, hey, can I cook something? Can I not cook something? Do I have the right skills? So, for example, let's start with selection, right? Like typically cooking yourself, or if you have learned from your parents, it's like roti, sabzi, dal, chawal. But now people are watching stuff on Instagram, on like MasterChef. People are traveling, so they want to have like pasta, momo, pizzas, right? Like, so we're like, hey, whatever you want to cook, we will help you, right? And some of these things are learned skills, right? For example, it takes years for you to perfect the tadka. Cooking Italian style is very different from cooking Oriental style. Now, for you to learn all of these things takes a while. But what the appliance does is skips a few steps and gets you to cook like Oriental food or like red sauce pasta on day one, because all you have to do when you're cooking the red sauce is just say cook sauce, and it starts cooking and it's going to get you there. As you spend more time with the appliance, you cook with it 3-4 times the same recipe, you will start modifying it yourself to elevate your culinary tastes. You will start playing around with the settings, etc. And at that point of time, like your not only your cooking skills are elevating, but the food you're eating is also improving. Add to this our community where people are sharing recipes. So once people have figured some of these things out, you figured out how to cook something on one appliance. Now every appliance can cook the same thing, right? Because if you cook something, we literally have the ability to record it and replicate it in different places.
So last time we talked, you said that you want to build a Netflix for food. So that, do you also keep a track like what cuisine is getting popular and what recipes are generated by your customers, like new experiments as well?
So I would say that 60% of the time we are developing recipes that our customers demand, right? Like our owners are constantly engaging with us. They end up generating their own recipes using AI, so we know exactly what they are trying to do. So 60% of the time we are sort of fulfilling those demands, but the other 40% of the time we are actually pushing the envelope of what you can cook at home, right? We will like, hey, you're having like say dal chawal for a few days. We'll be like, hey, to somebody in North India, why don't you try like Chennai style rasam, right? In a whole bunch of people in South India, we introduced them to the pav bhaji. It's super easy to cook pav bhaji on the appliance, and now like it is a regular feature, right? Like that to a household that was not having pav bhaji regularly can once a week have pav bhaji. It's a great tasting thing, adds diversity to the food you're having, and we bring in the convenience. So I would say 40% of the time we are nudging you towards trying new things, and 60% of the time we are building more and more things that our owners demand.
So, like everyone knows that you appeared on Shark Tank, and but unfortunately, you didn't get the funding. But like judges, they were not able to understand like the importance of AI in kitchen. So, how did you manage to get funding from Khosla Ventures, and what was the journey behind that? Like, how did you pitch the idea to him, and what got him excited in this process?
I think Shark Tank only gives you a glimpse into what fundraising is, especially companies like us who are building, hardware in India, home appliances. We do not really fall into a standard bucket, right? Like fintech, AI, or any of these things. So I feel it for the sharks as well, right? Like they're also sitting there in like an hour and a half. They have to make a decision about a space they may not be fully familiar with. In fact, I have heavy respect for Piyush to give out the offer that he did, and it was really hard to say no, but it was the right thing to do for the company. Our experience with raising from Costa Ventures was also like phenomenal, right? Like we met them, super founder friendly. Actually, even before they saw the pitch deck, they were like, "Hey, give us the appliance, we will cook with it," and that is the pitch, right? So I think all my investors, that's been the pitch. I don't think I've ever taken a deck to anybody. They were cooking with it. We were already building the AI stuff on top of it. Then they have huge excitement about India as a market, right? Like I think this is super underestimated of how quickly young India, especially nuclear homes, adopting technology and are elevating their lives, right? Like we just like so many of them want to cook, and we can just help them. And because we make in India, it makes our prices very very reasonable for the kind of products that we are building. So I think all of these things coming together, excitement about India, the team that we have, and the product that we built very, very quickly in the hardware space gave us the edge and impressed Vinod and the team.
Did any of the sharks get in touch with you after you received the funding from Khosla Ventures and saw your product?
A lot of sharks, especially after our pitch came out, have like that we know from our networks, have basically wished us well, and were really like some of them surprised, are really happy that this sort of products are coming out of India. I don't think they're allowed to sort of once they say no, go back to a company and say ask for in. But informally, I am happy that they are encouraging us in the journey that we're picking up, and hopefully more people follow us, and then hardware companies being funded on Shark Tank becomes the norm rather than the exception.
And how has been the talks going with OpenAI?
So OpenAI has a startups program, and they sort of work very closely with startups to see interesting applications. They've been working. They've been working with us, providing support, helping us fine tune models, and that is what has gotten us to a point where we can provide these experiences with confidence to our owners. And I think it's a major unlock, and it's only a glimpse into the world that we are seeing, right? Like where like everybody has access to being like a expert cook very, very quickly, right? And I think that only elevates the cooking experience. As more people have more spare time and disposable income, we've seen that they actually get involved in cooking, right? Like they enjoy trying out new flavors, new styles. And the fact that like this kind of technology now exists that can not only help people modify stuff, but like do fairly advanced things like generate recipes on their own and merge recipes, etc. Makes it really exciting.
So, like, can you tell us about your team and like how many people are there and what they are working on?
Since the Costa Ventures led investment, we have been on a growth path. So we've moved from like a very lean 18 people team to a very lean 40-ish people team. I was actually surprised myself how quickly we have grown. But the reason I say we are still lean is that we are a full OEM. We have mechanical engineers, electrical engineers, software engineers, sales, marketing, content, product, software, and then obviously like a whole bunch of support functions like admin, HR. So I think every department, production, quality, every department at Appliance is one person. We've now only recently started actively marketing, and all of these things are sort of putting the Appliance forefront in people's awareness. And what I am also excited about is that technology allows us to scale today much quicker than if we were starting this company 10 years ago. We are able to do really good like customer service by, you can just go on the appliance, press a call me button, and instantly it calls somebody, which was something that was really hard to do like even 5 years ago.
So like it has been few months your product came out now. So from the customer side, where are you seeing the more traction? Like what's the demographic? Earlier you mentioned like you are targeting nuclear families. So who are the primary customers who are currently like buying this product or like very happy with it?
When we started Appliance, we thought our target audience was, small families, couples living together. And that's what we were early on designing for. Luckily, we started shipping in Jan 23. So then we had real data, right? Like these are sort of people who are buying, these are people who are cooking, and a lot of it surprised us. So of course, our primary, people who have moved in with their partners, and now they're like, hey, we will stop ordering food from outside. We want to now, make momos at home or have a ramen at home, and together they are cooking something, right? It's a great experience, very, very new. It's like you're learning something together. You're almost growing up together. That's very common with our owners. But we've had a lot of people that we've not necessarily designed for, and now we are sort of understanding these use cases. So a lot of dads cooking with their children, like it's a very interesting thing that we have found out. And it's a completely different type of food. It's a together experience. People don't mind like taking the extra effort, doing something together, but it's a family activity. It's very positive in the kind of values that you want to transfer, and kids are fascinated by what is happening in the kitchen, and they're usually prohibited from entering. The appliance makes it slightly safe, right? Like your clothes, all the blades are well covered, protected. So that is one use case that we were very excited about. There are, of course, bachelors who want to like take food seriously early in life. I want to have salads for lunch every day. Great Appliance is a great way to get started over there. I want to try keto. Appliance is a great way to get started over there. Even slightly older people who have found modern food fascinating, right? Like, hey, I've been cooking for years, but it's roti sabzi dal chawal. But like now, I want to try out a pasta. Can I make pizza sauce at home? Is a TG that I'm actually getting more and more excited about, because this is a cohort that actually spends time giving us a lot of feedback, creating recipes on their own, because they truly see this as a way not only to cook new things, but express their way of cooking or express their opinion to a larger community of appliance owners.
So then how would you differentiate Appliance.ai from other kitchen appliances which are out there in the market and like which gives cost for value? So what's the USP for this jar?
So fundamentally, all kitchen appliances that have been designed, those kitchen and that are on the market, most of them are targeted to people who already know how to cook and are looking to automate their cooking, right? If you pure marketing speak, it is housewives and husbands of housewives to give to their housewives, right? Like it's been most of kitchen appliances in India. And there is a completely unignored TG of people who actually want to cook, right? But have never learned how to, right? Like, and that is modern young India, right? There is like, we have more men cooking than women cooking with the appliance. And most of the people cooking on the appliance are starting on their cooking journey, right? Some of them do know how to cook, but they are trying new ways of cooking, bringing in convenience, etc. So actually, that's how we actually, at a fundamental level, just are different from any other kitchen appliance, because we appeal very specifically to ignored market segment of people who aspire to cook but have no idea how to.
So prior to founding Appliance.ai, you loved cooking.
Actually, I did not. I was not a cook. I knew how to cook Maggi, and because I really like bhindi, I knew how to make bhindi ki sabzi. That's it. I would just have the same thing over and over again when I feel like cooking. Mohit, my co-founder, is actually somebody who spent a lot of time with food. He was at Chayos before this. He was making the chai making machine. He's the kind of guy who will talk about like, at this temperature, sulfur bond in the milk will break, so it will release certain type of taste profiles. So he had that kind of depth. Very early on, he actually put me on the journey which a lot of owners are going on, which is like, hey, you don't need to be cooking like Maggi, right? Like you can cook like a mushroom risotto today. Before, when the appliance didn't exist, he sent me like a whole bunch of thermometers, weighing scales, volume measuring cups, etc. And he would send a recipe to me. I would follow it like an engineer, and amazing food will come out. Like my family their minds were blown. Like, hey, Mahek is cooking all of these things. So this was such a level up, and I'm like, hey, this has to be a product, right? We actually started like scouring, hey, how do we actually build this, right? Because obviously nobody's going to cook sit in the kadai with a thermometer, but like, hey, this is tech that has temperature sensors have existed for like 80 years. So I'm like, hey, this should be very easy to incorporate. Let's put a product together. It was so exciting to sort of change the food. Like this, not even months, in weeks. My house was not having boring food, right? We created very early on a recipe for pad thai, and we started making pad thai at home. We would never make that at home. And my grandmother loved it. And now it's like a new thing that the family is having together. Like everybody's excited about Tuesday because it's Pad Thai Tuesday. I saw this experience firsthand, felt this level up. Actually, I literally used the word level up, and that's where the up in the appliance comes from. And that became, and that essentially was original conviction. And I think I'm the first customer of the appliance rather than somebody who knows actually how to cook.
So like what has been the most bizarre recipe you have tried on the?
What has been a lot, like especially since AI has existed and people have been generating recipes. I remember somebody asked AI to generate a Taylor Swift milkshake, which was the most insane thing. I think that's the wackiest thing I've had. It had like some strawberry milkshake. I have no idea. But that was the wackiest thing. Another thing that I personally like and I cook very often, but initially was like, hey, what was this? Is makhani pasta. So we have what is really paneer makhani gravy and paneer replaced by pasta. It's excellent. It's mind blowing, right? And it's a once a week recipe in our house. So those are probably the two most I would not have imagined before I started this company that I would be cooking these things.
So do you see a future where in the more kitchen appliances you will see LLMs being integrated, like a microwave, oven, where you just you can tell them through voice make pizza for me, so it will automatically adjust these settings for temperature and duration. So are you building something on that lines as well in future, where we have AI LLM integrated kitchen appliances?
So for me, AI is a tool, right? Like to get to an outcome. And the question that we keep asking at Appliance.ai is what do people want to cook, and what prevents them from cooking that, and can we help, right? And AI is a fantastic tool because cooking is very personal, cooking is emotional, and people want their own nuances, right? People want their own customization. So I don't think of it as like, hey, AI will get integrated into the microwave, refrigerator, etc. But I'm saying it is inevitable that now we can solve for use cases using AI that couldn't be done before, right? So I don't think we are too far away from for example, a microwave that just knows when something is hot and just stops on its own, right? Now, will this be achieved through an LLM or not? I have no idea, but it's a definitive use case, right? And technology exists today to be able to do these things. And what LLMs give is like, hey, if you find out to be able to do this, you need to be aware of what is being cooked, what is being, and what can be cooked is an infinite universe. When that happens, LLMs are really powerful because you can get sense out of an infinite universe because they are trained on a lot of data of the internet. And apart from I think LLMs, apart from writing code, are also really, really good at recipes because the internet is full of recipes. So that is something that's, been a part of, human culture. And since people have been writing about what they are cooking. So we're just making all of that information available at your fingertips. So you can, instead of taking years to learn this, on day one, you can start on your culinary journey.
So we know that LLMs tends to hallucinate a lot, and they can generate a new recipe which never existed before. So how do you ensure that that recipe is actually edible or tastes good?
First thing, you'd be surprised how quickly LLMs have reduced their hallucinations. And I think AI engineers are very quickly developing techniques to not only detect these things but control them, right? And today we have a lot of safeguards in place. So which is why we don't directly let the LLM edit the recipe. There is a layer of UP.AI in the middle that will make sure that it is sensible, right? And the UP.AI in particular is trained on recipes that already exist that we or other experts have created. And this sort of provides the firm footing that we know that things do not hallucinate. So we have some basic safety systems in place that that will cause something to not like, you will not end up burning food, or you will not end up adding something that, absolutely doesn't make sense. We have ingredients, we have, lists of ingredients. We say, hey, do not prompt, or only prompt in these scenarios. So there is some stuff we are building in. In the end, AI is AI. It is a little bit unpredictable, but these foundational models are becoming so good on a day-to-day basis that, even if you don't do anything for a month, your recipes will improve.
So like, did you get in touch with like famous celeb chef in India like Sanjeev Kapoor, and like how has been their response to that? And or we will see like Appliance.ai in Master Chefs anytime soon.
So I think, like I said, I think since we are building for people who are aspiring to cook but don't know how to, we actually partner a lot with some of these micro creators on Instagram and YouTube who have spent a lot of time sort of creating their style of cooking, right? So what I'm going for is a lot of variety, rather than saying, hey, this one chef's cooking is available to you. I would basically want to say, hey, we have like creators on from like every single part of India, right? Like Calcutta recipes come from a creator who specializes in food from there. We have a creator who is based in Surat, who is like creating a lot of Guju food. So that's essentially our approach of this, right? Like, so we work with small creators of the internet who are really, really passionate about food. We will do anything it takes to get people cooking. This is exactly what micro creators on the internet, on Instagram and YouTube are doing. They are like not there to like, they're not there primarily to make money. They are there because they are passionate about what they are doing, and harnessing their energy is something that we are very excited about. So on the Appliance today, you will already see hundreds of recipes that are created by creators that like you and me, right? Who are not the most famous, but are really passionate about about sort of propagating their cooking styles. And I will guarantee you that like, you will have like 10 or 15 people 10 years from now who will become really big in their culinary space.
So like, what's the near-term roadmap for you, and like, what are the next steps you are going to take for the?
Our near-term roadmap is to get more people cooking. It's very clear for us. We now have, we've, over the last like 18 months, we've taken out all the product kinks that we have. The number of recipes we have has just gone so much up. In fact, we add recipes, more recipes every single day. You can actually now go, forever without cooking something, repeat again, because I think more new recipes get added than days in the years. The other thing that we are now focusing on as well is how do we sort of help people with their goals beyond cooking, right? People cook for multiple reasons. Some of them just enjoy it. Some of them want to, create stuff that they are seeing on the internet at their homes. Some of them have health goals. Like, hey, I want to, decrease the amount of carbs I'm eating. I want to decrease the amount of oil, or I want to have a certain type of food. I want to have 320 calories of pasta. So we are now working on enabling all of these use cases, right? These are use cases that owners have actively talked to us about on our community, and we are figuring out ways of how to make some of this accessible so that we can get you to your goals, right? And I think that is the most important thing, because that also reduces friction on cooking, and more people cook, healthier India is, and healthier India is, good things happen.
So like, there are many companies like LG, they're also working actively towards AI. So they can also integrate similar capabilities. So do you think them as a competitor? Like,
so there are a lot of companies in the world who can do what we are doing. Sure. The question is, do they think like us, right? And I don't have a straight answer to that question, but I am very, very clear about what we think about, right? Our relationship with our customers starts when they buy the product, not ends, right? Like typically a lot of companies will just sell to a distributor, and then you will reach out to the company only if something goes wrong. But in our case, we are like, hey, okay, now we are getting onto a cooking journey. Now we are learning directly from you. And the other thing that that I would call our competitive advantage is just pure speed. The rate at which we develop, the rate at which we ship. We're only a 3-year-old company, and for a hardware company to be able to like not only develop a product but build a brand, market it, take it to a level where we are getting tons of people to cook. And this is a complete category creator, right? Like this category is not named anything. So we also created a new category. So all of this typically takes time. And I think the team that we have is lean, but is like energetic and some of the smartest people to do this. So what is our unfair advantage? It's the speed and the team that we have. And there are huge tailwinds of just software and AI that fall behind, form tailwind behind us. Of course, helped by our really supportive, super friendly investors that we have.
So, like, what final message you would like to give to the audience out there who doesn't know how to cook?
Oh, it's very simple. Get cooking. Go to Appliance.ai. We will do a live demo for you if you want. You can buy the product. We have aggressive 7 days return. If you don't like the food you are cooking, we will guarantee you will love the food that you're cooking, which is why we are able to do these aggressive returns.
Thank you, Mahek, for taking out your time. And it was a really insightful conversation. Really enjoyed like how Appliance.ai is making cooking easy. Would definitely love to try it out. Yeah.
Of course, glad to be here. Hopefully, we will have you as an appliance owner soon.